insider Ramona Shelburne. So let's get back to it. According to Woj, because, you know, it's not a day in the NBA without a Woj bomb, people, the Sixers ownership group met yesterday to discuss whether Bryan Colangelo should be fired due to the findings of an investigation into several secret Twitter accounts tied to Colangelo and his wife, Barbara. A decision about the future of Colangelo could be reached as soon as today. So, Ramona, you spent so much time around the Sixers this year. How quickly does Philadelphia need to act?
I think they need to make a decision before the draft. I mean, I think that really is the spot where big decisions are going to be made by their franchise, not only in the draft, but about trades they potentially need to think about. And you don't want to have somebody who's making decisions that you haven't fully empowered and whose status is still up in the air.
So,
my question is he has a lot of analytical guys under him that are really doing all of the analyzing of these guys that are coming out in the draft. So basically, he's just giving the go-ahead for whoever to draft, but getting advice from these young guys that are doing all the analytics.
He was at a draft workout today. I mean, I've just read some stuff out of Philadelphia that he was actually still doing his job today as if nothing is going on.
Well, he's got to, right?
Yeah.
Not fired yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe he feels he's innocent.
Vince, where are you on this? Because I've heard players kind of go different ways.
I agree. You have to make that decision before the draft. I mean, just to keep all of the riffraff away and so you can move forward. So you don't want to take all of this input and advice, and he's like, hey, we need to go here. And the next thing you know, he's not going to be there. You know, so I agree.
But then it's funny, the draft is one thing, and I agree because you want whoever's going to be steering the ship from now on to feel like they had ownership at the draft. To me, of course, it kind of dominoes into free agency, though, right? Because my biggest question about this is, can he gain back the trust of his players, Embiid, Simmons, whatever? That's one thing. They at least had a pre-existing relationship with him that maybe they can fall back on. If you're sitting in a free agent meeting with somebody who has been tied to this, and even if it's a family member and not him, they are trying to get a max slot salary guy this year.
You already know the first question. Hey, what's up with the Colangelo situation?
Right.
And then you have to answer that first. That dominates your visit.
That trust is already lost before it's even built.
Right.
So it will be hard for a free agent to really consider going there if he's still.
And he's making this. He's making the pitch to bring you in. You're like, bro, you might not even be here.
Right.
So
well, they have to have clarity either way. Like you have to say,
we stand behind him fully.
That's right. And if you do stand behind him, then there's got to be some evidence that either exonerates him or makes people feel better about 100%. The idea that he's in charge.
And if it turns out that he had nothing to do with it, but he was sharing information with a family member who did have something to do with
guilty.
That's
what's the difference? What's the difference?
Right.
It's interesting because I feel like everybody has to have someone that they vent to. Everyone has to have someone that they confess to.
But that person cannot tweet.
Yeah, usually that is a spouse. Yeah. Usually that's your husband, your wife, your friend, your
I think they call that pillow
brother,
talking.
right?
Right? Oh, okay,
usually
sorry.
It's that person. And so that's one of those things where it's like if there's one person that you're going to leak stuff to or you're going to vent to.
But again, that person, and again, I don't think the findings are out, so I always want to be careful about how we talk about this. You can confide in people, but that person you can confide in has to not be.
Yeah, I think it all comes down, Rachel. Honestly, is did he know that she was tweeting this? You know, if she was tweeting this, does she know? And could he have stopped this?
I'm not aware of what was tweeted, but can I ask you a question of the information that was tweeted out? Is it factual information? Like.
It's things that turned out to be true. Some of it was at the time confidential medical information and plans the team had in terms of personnel moves and things like that. So look at Vince's face, and there we go.
Why would you tweet that anyway?
Right. That's a good question, Vince Carter. You see, you're ready for journalism already. Still wants to play another year or two, but he's ready.